Have you been naughty or nice this year? Because if you're on the naughty list, Santa won't be paying you a visit. Instead, Krampus will come to beat you and drag you to hell. Or, if your house isn't clean and tidy, Perkta will disembowel you instead. Merry Christmas, everyone! Hello, I hope you guys are well, and if you are new, then welcome and please make yourself at home. My name is Morgan, and this channel is storytelling of the disturbing, mysterious, and supernatural. So if this kind of content is your thing, then don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for weekly videos. But for now, grab a cup of tea and get cozy as we're about to begin. Santa Claus, or Saint Nicholas, is a well-known figure in Western culture associated with the Christmas holidays. A happy, jolly fellow with a big white beard bearing gifts on Christmas Eve to those who have been good during the year. But he also has a slightly demonic accomplice who accompanies him, although Hollywood doesn't focus on this one so much, and his name is Krampus. Although Krampus appears in many variations, most share some common physical characteristics. He is considered to be a half-goat, half-demon monster in some legends. Hairy, usually brown or black, and has the cloven hooves and horns of a goat. His long, pointed tongue lolls out, and he has fangs. Krampus carries chains, thought to symbolize the binding of the devil by the Christian Church. He thrashes the chains for dramatic effect and are sometimes accompanied with bells of various sizes. He also carries a bundle of birch branches with which he occasionally swats children with. The birch branches are replaced with a whip in some representations, and sometimes Krampus appears with a sack or a basket strapped to his back. This is to cart off naughty children for drowning, eating, or transporting back to hell. Now, the direct origin of the Krampus is unclear. Some folklorists and anthropologists have suggested that it may have pre-Christian origins. Krampus is thought to come from either Bavarian Krampen, meaning dead or rotten, or from the German Krampen, meaning claw. Krampus was thought to have been part of pagan rituals for the winter solstice, and according to legend, he is the son of Hel, the Norse god of the underworld. With the spread of Christianity, though, Krampus became associated with Christmas, despite efforts by the Catholic Church to ban him. The Krampus is a horned figure in the Central and Eastern Alpine folklore of Europe, who, during the Advent season, scares children who have misbehaved. Assisting Saint Nicholas or Santa Claus, the pair visit children on the night of the 5th of December, with Saint Nicholas rewarding the well-behaved children with gifts such as oranges, dried fruit, walnuts, and chocolate. Krampus, on the other hand, beats those who are naughty with branches and sticks, and in some cases he is said to eat them or take them to hell. On December the 6th, which is St. Nicholas's Day, children awaken to find their gifts or nurse their injuries. Festivities involving Krampus include the Krampus-Lauf, or Krampus Run as it's known. In this activity, people dressed as the demonic creature parade through the streets, scaring spectators and sometimes chasing and whipping them. Beginning in the late 20th century, with efforts to preserve cultural heritage, Krampus runs became increasingly popular in Austria and Germany. These events occur annually in most alpine towns, drawing large crowds to witness the spectacle, and Krampus is featured on holiday greetings cards called Krampuskarten. Also during this time, Krampus began to be celebrated internationally, and the creature has become popular in horror films, TV, and video games. Another fun Christmas icon in alpine paganism is Perkta, as equally terrifying as Krampus, but not as well known outside of alpine regions of Germany and Austria. Frau Perkta was also known as Berkta or Bertha, and also has been called the Spinning Room Lady. In some descriptions, Perkta has two forms. She may either appear as beautiful and white as snow like her name, or as elderly and haggard. She is often depicted with a beaked nose made of iron, dressed in rags, sometimes carrying a cane, and generally resembles a decrepit old crone. However, this old crone also carries a long knife hidden under her skirt. In many old descriptions, Perchta also had one large foot, sometimes called a goosefoot or swanfoot. She also bears a resemblance to the Scandinavian goddess Frigga, and both of them share one thing in common: spinning and domestic neatness in general. In the folklore of Bavaria and Austria, Perchta was said to roam the countryside at midnight and to enter homes during the 12 days of Christmas, especially on the 12th night, or January the 6th. She would know whether the children and young servants of the household had behaved well and worked hard all year. If they had, they might find a small silver coin the next day in a shoe or pail. She was particularly concerned to see that girls had spun all of their allotted portion of flax or wool during the year though, and if they hadn't done so and they had not been hard-working, then punishment was pretty gory. She would creep into your bedroom at night when you were tucked up in bed, slit your belly open with her knife, remove your stomach and guts, and stuff the hole with straw and pebbles. In Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, there were numerous tales of Frau Perchta trampling and even setting fire to the half-spun fibres. She would also disembowel those who ate something on the night of her feast day other than the traditional meal of fish and gruel. Pretty tough punishment for wanting a different meal. Other legends tell of Frau Perchta with the legend of the Wild Hunt, and say that she flies through the night sky attended by an army of lost souls, including the demonic-looking Perchton, her army of servants who are visually nearly indistinguishable from Krampus. The difference between them is that Krampus rides alongside St. Nicholas, while the Perchton tend more towards the last 3 Thursdays before Christmas, also known as Berchtel nights or Knockin' nights. Also among her army of the night are the souls of unbaptized children, and legend tells that if you hear the wind and thunder roaring and rumbling through the mountains on these nights, you're really hearing the sounds of Perchta leading the wild hunt. But where did Christmas even come from? For a long time, the celebration of Jesus' birth was connected with his baptism, which was celebrated on January the 6th. So why do we celebrate Christmas on the 25th of December? December the 25th, Christmas Day, has been a federal holiday in the United States since 1870. The middle of winter has long been a time of celebration around the world. Centuries before the arrival of the man called Jesus, early Europeans celebrated light and birth in the darkest days of winter. Many people rejoiced during the winter solstice because it meant the worst of the winter was behind them, and they could look forward to longer days and extended hours of sunlight. The end of December was a perfect time for celebration in most areas of Europe. At that time of year, most cattle were slaughtered so they would not have to be fed during the winter. For many, it was the only time of year when they had a supply of fresh meat. In addition, most wine and beer made during the year was finally fermented and ready for drinking. In the early years of Christianity, Easter was the main holiday. The birth of Jesus was not celebrated. In the 4th century, church officials decided to institute the birth of Jesus as a holiday. Unfortunately, the Bible does not mention the date for his birth, a fact Puritans later pointed out in order to deny the legitimacy of the celebration. Although some evidence suggests that his birth may have occurred in the spring, because why would shepherds be herding in the middle of winter? Anyway, Pope Julius I chose December the 25th. It is also commonly believed that the Church specifically chose this date in an effort to adopt and to absorb the traditions of the pagan Saturnalia festival, which was a holiday in honor of Saturn, the god of agriculture. First called the Feast of the Nativity, the custom spread to Egypt and to England by the end of the 6th century. Basically, by holding Christmas at the same time as traditional winter solstice festivals, church leaders increased the chances that Christmas would be embraced over pagan traditions. And by the Middle Ages, Christianity had, for the most part, replaced pagan religion, a win for the church. And who even invented Santa Claus, you might wonder? Well, the legend of Santa Claus can be traced all the way back to a monk named St. Nicholas, who was actually born in Turkey around 280 AD. St. Nicholas gave away all his inherited wealth and travelled the countryside helping the poor and sick, becoming known as the protector of children and sailors. Well, St. Nicholas first entered American pop culture in the late 18th century in New York, when Dutch families gathered to honour the anniversary of the death of St. Nicholas, Dutch for Saint Nicholas, or Sinterklaas for short, and Santa Claus draws his name from this abbreviation. In 1822, Minister Clement Clarke Moore wrote a Christmas poem called An Account of a Visit from St. Nicholas, more well known today by its first line, "'Twas the night before Christmas." The poem depicted Santa Claus as a jolly man who flies from home to home on a sled driven by reindeer to deliver toys. The iconic version of Santa Claus as a jolly man in red with a white beard and a sack of toys became immortalized in 1881, when political cartoonist Thomas Nast drew on Moore's poem to create the image of Old Saint Nick we know today. Well guys, I hope you've all been good this year, because I don't think you'd want a visit from either Krampus or Perkter. Have you even heard of Krampus or Perkter? Have you seen the parades in Europe? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more weekly content. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next video, and Merry Christmas!